welcome. Today is Friday, July 1st, and I am back for my stitching update. It's been 2 weeks since my last one, so I hope you have all been well and you've been stitching and making and creating all of the things. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. My name is Olivia, and this is Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. This is a video podcast where I typically will talk about cross-stitching as well as quilting. However, if quilting is not something you're interested in seeing or hearing about, I show it a little bit later on in the video, and I let you know in plenty of time that they'll be making their appearance, so that way you can go on to the next Flosstube video. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. So how have you guys all been? I hope you've had a great 2 weeks since we last sat down to chat. I did adjust the angle of the video slightly. I was hoping maybe it would help a little bit with the lighting. I ended up getting a new phone over the past 2 weeks, and I didn't even think to check out the video part of the phone. So today is the first day I'm recording on it, and so far it's not going well. I'm used to my old one. I never had any problems with it whatsoever, and this one I immediately noticed there are some lighting issues. So I'm going to have to look into that between now and my next video. So just bear with me. All right, so I did have a couple of questions from my last video, and I have not had a chance to read through all of the comments yet. I ended up falling behind in a lot of stuff over the past 2 weeks, and one of them was going in and reading through the comments. I don't want you to think that I am ignoring you. I really do appreciate everyone who leaves a comment for me, and I do apologize for getting a little bit behind. When this video is doing its percolating, I will be going in and reading through, continuing to read through those comments. But I hope that you don't think that I'm ignoring you, because again, I really do appreciate all of the lovely and kind comments you guys leave for me. So one of the comments that I got was about my flower garden. It's doing okay. There's a couple of plants that I did lose, and I'm thinking it was because we just had so much rain that it sort of drowned them. So I lost a foxglove that was in the back, and the one that's out in the front is not looking so hot either. But the hydrangeas look amazing. They're humongous. They're about 4 times the size that they were, and I'm hoping that I have pictures of them at the beginning of the video. But everything is starting to bloom and grow now that summer has finally decided to arrive. We went from having like 50, 60 degree weather to almost 100 within like a day of each other. So everything kind of got a little shocked. I definitely was unprepared for the heat, but everything is doing really well now. It's starting to grow, and things are starting to they were blooming before, but now they're really, really rioting with color. So it's a lot of fun to see, and I'm hoping that I can save up a little bit before now and the end of summer, because I really would like to get a couple more hydrangeas. But if not, that's definitely going to be high on my list to get in the spring, and so I'll save up for them as we go through, you know, the next part of the year, or the next few months into the next year. I'll save up so I can get some more hydrangeas, because I would like to get the ones that are like the big, they're taller, and they put on those big white flowers that then you can cut off and you can dry, and they kind of fade to a sort of like a brownish white. They're really pretty. I see them a lot for sale online in some of the primitive groups that I'm in, but I'm hoping to get some of those and then, you know, get them going, because I really would like to have them on the side of the house. I think that would look really, really pretty. But for the most part, I'm done planting. I didn't really do a whole lot this year, just because it rained forever. I mean, I honestly didn't think it was ever going to quit raining. So next year, I've kind of been looking around, and there's like areas of my flower garden that I know that I want to add some more plants to. But I'm really enjoying all the ones that are blooming. I'm enjoying seeing the birds flit about everywhere. It's just really nice to see like all of the color come back to the flower garden. So I definitely have some plans for next year. I think today I'm just going to go ahead and dive right in and talk about what I have been working on over the past 2 weeks. Autumn at Hawker and Hollow. It actually was not supposed to come up into my rotation until tonight, I think. but I ended up finishing what I was working on early, so I was able to work on this a day sooner. And I absolutely love working on this one. I get a lot of questions about why I have decided to remove the Halloween blocks out of mine. I don't have anything against Halloween, honestly, because that was one of the questions, like, what do you have against Halloween? And if you know me, you know that I absolutely love Halloween. You can go back to my videos in the fall and see the house. It just explodes with Halloween during October. And I also love stitching for it. And I have a lot of cross stitching that I've done. And I also have a lot that I will be doing. But the one thing I'm really, really lacking is autumn pieces. So originally I had autumn at Hawk Run Hollow, and then I had Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. But I decided to go ahead and just finish the 2 blocks that I already had in Halloween, and I finished them into a drum because I knew I was not going to finish that piece, at least as it was. And then the autumn at Hawk Run Hollow was just going to stay an autumn piece. And I've decided to just leave it as an autumn piece because, again, that is what I'm really lacking, are autumn pieces. And I think this one will be a nice, perfect big piece to have up during the autumn season. So that is why I'm leaving it off. Otherwise, I absolutely love Halloween. So I don't want you to think that. But yes, I just decided this one just needed to be all about the autumn. So this is how far I have gotten. Last night I went in and worked a little bit more on the house. There is a ton of stitching. And usually when you look at these blocks, you think, it's not going to take me that long until you start stitching them. And they are just crazy full of stitches, but they're absolutely beautiful when they're done. So I will be really excited to see this block complete because I have changed out a lot of the elements of the block. For instance, the biggest change I did was to change the house color. So in the original, it's kind of like a yellow-orange, and I decided to do mine the same teal that the birds up here are. And I just was trying to pull down a little bit of that color, and I can already tell in some of the other blocks when I look at this whole thing, I can already see some of those other colors sort of pop out. So it was a good decision, and I love this color so very much. It kind of reminds me of like colonial teal, and I just love it. So for the next couple of days, I will be working on this block. I don't foresee me finishing it over these next 4 days. I have a feeling that it's going to take a few more rotations before I will be done with it. But I'm stitching it on a piece of 40 count Vintage Country Mocha with a various DMC 1/2. And when I get done with this block, I will share what my conversions were. But I love it. Love it, love it. I'll give you a little close-up of my block. Just love it, love it, love it. So there's a small possibility I could have this done during or right before or in the middle of the autumn season, so that would be really cool. I hope obviously to get it done before autumn, but I do not know. It usually takes several rotations before I can finish a block. So I know this one, I'll have to see how far I get, but I have a feeling that the house has a lot of stitching in it. So I have a feeling it's going to take a couple rotations. But if I can finish this block by the end of July, that would be perfect. So enjoy working on this one so very much. Well, as far as everything in my rotation, that's all I have to show because I finished the other 2 things. That never ever happens. It never happens. But it's kind of funny when I was bringing everything out to show in today's video and I just had autumn at Hawk Run Hollow. Anyway, it's a good thing because a lot of times it takes a little while before I finish something, and to have like 2 things in my rotation finish at the same time, it was kind of funny. Plans though. So one thing I forgot to mention in my last video was I had gotten several questions about my autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain. And I had worked on it a couple of times in the spring, and then I hadn't shown it in the last couple of videos. And a lot of you guys were curious as to why. And basically what happened is with having Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow and Autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain in my rotation at the same time, it was a little bit overwhelming for me. And I just thought I can only really do one of those at a time. So when I finish Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow, then I will work on Autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain. And that's why I have not shown it. I'm still planning on doing it because I love that piece so very much. But that one has a heck ton of stitching too. And just to have the two of them together, it was just a little too much for me. So once this autumn is done, then I will switch to Lazy Bear. But going forward, I have a couple of openings in my rotation. And one of the openings, I've decided to just kind of leave it open and just continue working on the things that are already in my, or that I've already started, like Thankful, Grateful, Blessed is one. And that's one that I would like to spend a little bit more time working on. And then Ann Thomas. So so instead of bringing something to, or bringing two things in to replace the two openings, I've just decided to kind of work on what I already have going. However, I have decided to pull something out of the Mocking Basket of Whip, something that I started back in 2019, has been in timeout 2 different times, and that is American Farmhouse. Thought I would do the responsible thing and work on something I've already started. So I thought today I'll show you how far I got. So this is how far I got back when I worked on it. I have not touched this in probably 2 years, maybe even longer. I did start it in 2019, ended up putting it in timeout, brought it back out again, and I don't remember if I brought it back out in 2019 or if it was in 2020, but I know I have not touched it in several years. This is how far I got, so I'm stitching this on a piece of 36 count ale with the called for threads 1/2. And I remember the last time I messed up somewhere on the barn, and I need to go in and figure out where my mistake was and find out if I can just fudge it, because I have unpicked the barn already once and I'm not unpicking it again. So I will pull this back up into my rotation. I think it is later on in July is when I will be working on that, and I will work on it until it is done, because I would really like to have it done. It's a beautiful chart, and I've seen a lot of people on Instagram and Facebook who have finished theirs, and it's just absolutely beautiful, and I would really love to have this one finished too. I just love everything about it. I love the quilt blocks, I love the American flag on the barn, I love the big white house, I just love all of it. So I would like to begin working on it again. I'm thinking some of my issue with it was I had been cross-stitching for several years, but I'd only really worked with like 32 and 28 count, other than my Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow, which was a 40 count. And I remember struggling with that too. You know, when you first get back into cross-stitching, you know, you shouldn't just go from like a 28 count to a 40 count. That's like night and day. And I think what happened was, you know, I had been working on some of those larger count. Is a smaller count? Would a 28 count and a 32 count be considered a smaller count or a larger count? But that's what I had primarily been working on, and then I started working on American Farmhouse, which the called for, I believe, is 36 count ale. Yes, it's 36 count bark, but ale is a good substitute. So I had never worked on any linen that was dark. It had always been like Vintage Country Mocha or lighter. So this was like the first time working on a dark linen. It was a higher count, and so I think that was a lot of my issue right there. So it'll be interesting now that I've had several years of working on, would it be smaller counts or larger counts? I'm not sure how that goes. But working on 36, working on some darker colored linen of 36 and 40, if I will run into the same problem, or if it'll just be really easy. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see. So in my last video, I showed what I thought was all of my previous patriotic / summer finishes. And when I was cleaning up all of the stuff for the video, from the video, I came across one that I forgot, and that is this one. So I think this is called Basket of Cherries. If I'm wrong, I will put the correction down below, but it is by Blackbird Designs, and it's part of a series. I think it's in the garden, but it's part of that series. And this was a stitch along that I did back in 2019 with Deborah, and it was a lot of fun. It was at a very, very busy time because Allison was graduating high school, so there was a lot of stuff going on, and then start a stitch along. But it was a lot of fun, and I love having this little piece around the house. The frame I bought from, I believe, Hobby Lobby, and I think it was the very first time I kind of experimented with lacing. So I did put some batting behind it, and then I laced it, and then just finished it with the backing it came with. But I started with a lot smaller stuff, and this was, so I had done a smaller one, and then I did this one. And it was a lot of fun to, I mean, it was, I know it took me a long time to lace this one because it was only the second one that I had ever done, but it was a lot of fun to do it and sort of have this framed finish. So I really love this one. I think I used a variety of flosses. I didn't have them all, so I used some of the called for, and then I know I used some DMC, but I'm not really sure what it was that I used, and I do not remember what the linen is. I think it's a 32 count, and I stitched it 2/2. But I love this one, and I love getting it out every year. It sits kind of in different places every year. I try to move stuff around, but this year there is a shelf that's just right over here, and that is where it sits. Over these past 2 weeks, I did have 4 new finishes. 2 of them are brand new, and then there are 2 that are redos of old finishes. So we'll start with the old ones. This one is Knee High by Hands On Design. So I first stitched this one in 2018, I think. I remember I was watching a gal on Instagram. She was stitching it, and I just absolutely loved seeing it come to life. And she told me she got hers out of the Just Cross Stitching magazine. So I had a subscription at that time. And when you get at the time when you got a subscription, you got access to so many years of back issues. And so she told me the issue it had come out of, and luckily I had access to it. So I was able to print it off and start stitching it. And I really enjoyed working on this one. When I finished it, I did sort of like the Priscilla finish where you use the 2 pieces of sticky board, washers, magnets. I put it into a frame with the thought that I would stitch something that was about the same size, and then I would swap them out seasonally. And that did not happen. I had it out that first year. I might have had it out one more year after that, but then it's been in a drawer ever since. And it's not the only one that's in the drawer. There is a stack of projects that are all going to get reframed at some point. But this one I felt really bad. You know, it's probably been in there the longest. And I really did enjoy working on this one. And every time I would go into that drawer, I would see it and I just would feel bad. I knew something needed to be done. It needed to be reframed. And it finally got its new frame. So the frame molding came from the Home Depot. And after it was made into the frame, I painted it with acrylic paint in Barn Red. And I picked up my Barn Red from, it's Barn Door. It's either Barn Red or Barn Door. And I will go look and then I'll scroll it. But I got mine from Michael's. And so I painted it and then distressed it a little bit. So it kind of had that, you know, rusty, crusty look. And then I took the cross stitch piece, which when you have a cross stitch piece and you are, you know, you're taking the 2 pieces of sticky board and so you've got the one that's got your cross stitch piece that's glued onto it, you know, it's the front side's put on the sticky board, and then the back side you flip over and you glue it down, and then you take another piece of sticky board and you wrap that with fabric, and then you glue the two of them together. When you go to pry it apart, you usually cannot save the sticky board. It gets pretty thrashed, and the glue is on your piece forever. So on this piece, I wanted there to be a little bit around the whole piece. So I went as far out as I possibly could, but if the frame lip wasn't here, you would see pieces of the glue, pieces of the paper from the back side of the sticky board, pieces of red from the gingham fabric that was behind it. I mean, it's there forever. I mean, you can't take it off. I mean, it was hot glue. So, I mean, the good news is I was able to, the frame is hiding some of that, but I was able to, luckily, when I fully finished it, I didn't glue it all the way to the outer edges. So I had a little bit of room to work with. Otherwise, this would have been really tight. So I was glad that back in the day, Olivia did not glue the crap out of it. But I really love how it turned out. I stitched this with DMC Threads. I stitched it on 32 count, and it is 2/2. And I love it so very much. I feel like the red frame just makes the barn and the flag pop out. I love it. I love having it done now. And I did lace it over 3 pieces of batting on a piece of mat board. Now my second finish. So this one also was a redo of an older finish. This one I stitched it, I might have been doing Flosstube at the time, or it was just before. I stitched it somewhere between 2018, 2019. I don't remember working on it in 2020, so I think I had it done by 2019. I have the entire series done. So this is Hello Summer, and then I have Hello Autumn, Hello Winter, Hello Spring. And when I originally finished it, so this one was also on 2 pieces of sticky board, and then it had magnets on the back, or washers. And then I had an old wooden box that I painted gray, and all of them magneted to the front of it, and then inside the box I had a bunch of flower arrangement, and it looked okay. But again, that kind of, even though I like to grow flowers and I occasionally might have a vase full of flowers, and I do have some areas where there are some, like it's just like a little bouquet of flowers, but they're not like a ton of like different flowers. It's just it's kind of prim. So it's like prim flowers, but it's like simple. I'll see if I can insert a picture of the bouquet that's across the room. But having all of that big thing of flowers, it just never really fit in with my personality, I guess. I'm definitely like more rustic. I don't even know if that's the correct word, but I basically like things to be a little bit more simple, if that makes sense. So I took the 2 pieces of sticky board apart. I peeled the linen away from it, and luckily I had wrapped it with enough that I was able to peel it off. It does have glue on it, but I was able to go out about 1/2 inch and then lace it. So I think it looks really, really good. I did this one on a piece of, I believe it's 32 count. I think it's a natural linen, 32 count with various DMC. I think it's just what I had in my stash, and I did it 2/2. But I really love how it turns out. The reason why I decided to do a black frame was I felt like some of these darker elements, like the flag and the eagle, and over here in the flower, I wanted to pull some of that out. It wasn't really showing up that good. And another thing I wish I would have done is on the eagle. I wish I would have used like B5200, and I believe this is a crew. But I love how it turned out. Again, this is the other piece of, these 2 frames came from the same piece of molding that I picked up from Home Depot. I had to order a piece of molding to make my grandma a frame for, she finished this big diamond painting, and for her birthday she wanted me to frame it. So the piece of molding couldn't come by itself. It had to come with something else. So I got molding for these two frames. Although at the time I had no idea that these were the two frames that I was gonna do. But I just happened to go in and I opened up that drawer and they both were right on top, and I pulled them out and I thought, it's time. So the Hello Summer, it hangs down the hallway, and I will put a picture of what it looks like above the candle sconce. So my two new finishes. This one was a stitch along, which is still ongoing, even though I have finished. I know that there's a lot of you guys still working on yours, and I'm still rooting you on. But that is the Blue House Neighborhood. So the stitch along was the Blue House Neighborhood SAL. And thank you again to everybody who has joined in. The Blue House Neighborhood is a chart that is designed by Deanna of Cherry Hill Stitchery. And she has a lot of great charts. You definitely need to go check out her Etsy shop. I will put a link to her Etsy shop down below. But there are a lot of wonderful charts that I know that I will be going back and getting later on. But here is my finish. So I think when I was getting ready to start it, I talked about how I wanted to turn it into a drum. I thought it would be perfect. And it's the perfect size to be made into a drum. I absolutely love it. So for this one, since I have done several, I did not need a tutorial, but the original drums that I did use the tutorial that Vonna Pfeiffer, the Twisted Stitcher, had put out. And I do get a lot of questions about, will I do a drum making tutorial? And I won't, because I could not, I mean, Vonna's drums look amazing. So you definitely want to go learn from the pro. So, but I really love it. I love how it turned out. I love having another patriotic finish that I get to display around my home. I stitched this on a piece of 32 count doubloon with the called for threads 1/2. And I only did it 1/2 because I made a mistake. You're supposed to do it 2/2. But I love it so very much. So, so fun. So again, thank you to everybody who has joined along, and for those of you who are still working on yours, keep going, and I promise I will still be cheering you on. Okay, so this last finish, this is the one that made me late for doing my videos. This is also the one that has caused me the most grief, and not just sadness grief, just like wring its neck grief. It did not, how do I want to say this? So I think the mat board got warped in the car. We bought it on a hot summer day, and it was in the trunk of the car, because usually we try to condense our trips into town into like one day and get as much done as we can because of fun gas prices. And I'm saying that sarcastically. But we went to Michael's, and it was 90 degrees out on the day that I bought my mat board, and we put it in the trunk of the car and ran some other errands. And when I went to go pull the mat board in the house, I noticed that it was warped a little bit. But I thought, well, once it gets, you know, the batting on it and the linen on it, and it gets laced into it, and then it gets put into the frame, it should be fine. It's not. So it's crooked. I also am not happy with, I like the frame, but as soon as I'm done with this video, and while things are uploading, right before I go check my past comments, I'm taking it out of the frame, I'm popping it out of the lacing, I'm remeasuring the sampler, and I'm going to make my husband recut the frame. And that is Christmas Garden by Blackbird Designs. So I've forgotten to answer this in the last couple of videos. There's quite a few of you guys who think this is an out of print chart. It is not. It is in one of the holiday Blackbird books. because I have this one, and then when I bought that, it came in with it. I just chose to use this particular pattern because it was a lot easier for me, and but it's in for like Home for the Holidays or one of those. I'll scroll it down here, but it is still available. So let me show you the temporary finish. Here it is. So this is Christmas Garden by Blackbird Designs, and I stitched it on a piece of 36 count Dusty Road linen with the Vicki Clayton Silks 1/2. So I finished this one yesterday morning. I was super close to a finish, so I basically decided to spend the morning working on this and getting it finished. And yeah, so some of you guys are probably gonna think I'm nuts. I don't like to have this much room around all of my samplers. I like it to be in about a 1/2 inch. And I also feel that when the frame goes in about a 1/2 inch and to where it is framed, you know, so you have your border and then the frame sits an inch away from it, it's easier for me to work with it on the mat board, because when I make a sampler, I only give myself between 2 and 3 inches of extra fabric for framing. So this one here, when I envisioned the frame for it, I knew it was going to sit in an inch, and that would give me 2 inches on the back side to lace. Because it's quite a bit bigger, I have hardly anything on the sides to lace from, and I think that is what has caused some of the crooked issues. My husband told me I shouldn't even point it out. I should just show you that I finished it, but I can't do that because I am going to take this apart. The frame is going to get recut. I'm going to take everything apart and I'm going to redo it, because something like this, it means so much to me that it has to be perfect. And I like my stuff to be a little bit more framed in, and when I envisioned this piece being done in this frame, I envisioned it being closer. And I also feel like when it is a little bit closer, it will help some of these elements up here, which are sort of fading away, to pop a little bit more. So I will show this again in my next video. But this is why I was late filming my video. I have to tell you, I was very emotional and very upset that it was not turning out the way that I wanted it to. I probably should have been a little bit more vocal when it was being cut, to say, you know, hey, I need the whole thing taken apart. I need it to be a little bit closer. So I will be showing this one again, but the frame is perfect for it. I love this piece. And I think my sister-in-law would have really liked it too. So I think that's why I have to have it a certain way, because I've spent so much time on this piece that I just want it to be perfect. Okay, so I didn't think I was gonna get so emotional, so I had to pause for a few minutes. But the plan is to take it apart and redo it, and then I will show it in my next video. But I am very happy to have it done. Okay, so something that I forgot to mention a little bit earlier on is that on July 5th, the Boo Crew Stitch Along will be starting. It is hosted by the Fat Quarter Shop, and if you go to their blog, The Jolly Jabber, it should have all of the information about it, as well as a link to the supply list if you would like to participate. So I will make sure to put a link to the Jolly Jabber down below. I think they did have a blog post about it, and I meant to check on it before I did my video, and I just totally forgot. The day just kind of got away from me. So I will be starting this one on July 5th. Each Clue releases once a week, and I believe it goes for 4 weeks. So I'm really excited to start this one. I am going to be doing it on a piece of 36 count Shrekie's Tan, which on my viewfinder is very much brown, but in person it's kind of a greenish brown. So I think it's gonna look really, really good. And I will be stitching it with the Classic Colorworks threads. So lots of beautiful Halloween threads. Love it. So I'm excited to work on that one. And when I get it done, I will also turn it into a drum as well. All right, so I did get a little bit of Happy Mail over the past 2 weeks, and it is cross-stitching related. And I know a lot of you guys don't like to see the Happy Mail. However, this one piece of this is actually going to be today's giveaway. So I definitely want you guys to stick around if you're interested. I was contacted by Amy, who owns the Purple Pistachio on Etsy, and she makes scissor fobs and zipper pulls. She sent me this beautiful card, and she made me this beautiful owl scissor fob. I recorded this little segment and I goofed on the word scissors. So she made me a beautiful owl scissor fob, and I do have a love affair with embroidery scissors. I have a handful of them, and I just absolutely love all the different kinds, and I just have it. I just love them. I have a secret love affair with them. She also included this zipper pull, which I will be putting on one of my project bags. And then she included a scissor fob for me to give away. So this is the scissor fob that I will be giving away in just a little bit. Amy has very generously provided a coupon code to her Etsy shop. So if you put in pumpkin15 at checkout, you will save 15% on your purchase. And thank you so much to Amy for sending the beautiful scissor fobs and zipper pulls, and also for the coupon code. So thank you so much. Definitely go check out her Etsy shop. I already have something in my cart, and I can't say what it is because sometimes my friend watches my Flosstube videos and I don't want her to know. But I definitely already have a few things in my shopping cart. Such a great shop. So if you want to hang around just for a few more minutes, I will do the giveaway. And then Barb from Lost and Floss, she just finished working on this, and I had never seen this chart before, and so she told me she would send it to me, which was so very sweet and kind of her, and I cannot wait to start it. I already know exactly how I'm going to finish it too. So in my last video, I did have a giveaway, and thank you so much to everybody who entered to win. The giveaway question was, what is your go-to dish to take to a potluck or a summer potluck? And I enjoyed reading through all of the responses. It made me really, really hungry. But I do appreciate all of you guys who play along. So the giveaway was for the Citrus Summer pattern, which was part of the Stitch Quarterly. It comes with everything to stitch it, as well as the project bag. And the winner is Tammy Morgan. So congratulations, Tammy. If you can contact me via email and send me your address, I will get this out in the mail to you. Thank you so much for playing. And this video also has a giveaway. Once again, thank you to Amy from the Purple Pistachio on Etsy for providing today's giveaway prize. And that is this beautiful scissor fob. So if you are interested in winning the scissor fob, first you must be a subscriber. You must like the video and then answer the question down below, which is, what is your favorite needlework accessory? So of course mine are scissors. I absolutely love them. I don't collect them often, but every once in a while I do pick up one that I see that looks kind of unique, and I usually like them to look a little vintagey, but I definitely would say that scissors are my favorite needlework accessory. So what is yours? Leave it down below. And in my next video, I will announce a winner. And again, thank you so much to Amy for providing today's giveaway, and go and check out her Etsy shop. She has a lot of beautiful, beautiful accessories for your scissors and your project bags. As far as all of the cross stitching goes, that is all I have to share and show in this video. I thank you so much for stopping by today. But now I am going to talk about some quilting that I have done, and I also have another little piece of happy mail that I would like to show. And so if you're not interested in seeing any of that, this is a great stopping off point. And again, I thank you so much for stopping by today, and I'll be back in 2 weeks. All right, so other happy mail. I received a package from Megan, and she had sent me a package a little bit earlier in the spring, and on the envelope, she had stamped it with a wax seal. And I had contacted her, and I just really love that she had stamped it with that wax seal. And I think I even shared the story on here about how when I was a teenager, I used to go to the stationery store and I used to look at all of the stamps, the wax stamps, and then the wax pieces that you could get, and then you could, you know, put that on letters. And I always thought that when I was an adult, I was going to go, and that's how I was going to send all of my letters and stuff. I would buy a wax stamp and then the seal, and then, you know, do all that, be really fancy and cool. And of course, after I got out of high school, that's when the, you know, phones and all of that, internet, and so, you know, sending letters and doing all that stuff just kind of disappeared. But I never, anytime I saw any like wax seal on anything, I just always thought that was the coolest. Well, Megan sent me one. So she sent me this G. Hopefully it's showing up, but it's got some flowers, it's got the G, and then it's got some flowers and then a little envelope, which is so stinking cool. And it's been really hard not to try this out, but she also included 2 pieces of wax. And so I've been dying to melt some of the wax and stamp it. I just think it's so stinking cool, but I wanted to show it first, and now I will go play with it. But she also sent me this beautiful fabric bundle of reproduction in brown, which I love. And then she said that, well, this is how the stamp with the wax came in this cute box. And she said that these postcards came with it. And I think these postcards are so cool. And I've been looking for something like this to hang in my bedroom, put it into frames, and then put it into my bedroom. So that's what these, they're going to go into frames, and then I'm going to put them in my bedroom because I think they just look so cool and so vintage. And then I told the story about how I don't like spiders, and she sent me this. So I am going to put some glue on the back, and I'm going to stick it in my book of days. I just think that's so cool. So thank you so very much, Megan. I cannot wait to try this out. It's been really hard not to play with this since you've sent it to me, but now that I have showed it in the video, I'm going to be playing with it all the time. All right, let's talk about quilts. So I haven't done a whole lot of quilting for myself. I have done some client quilts, but as far as, you know, making quilt blocks and things like that, I haven't really had a whole lot of time. I did manage to put together 2 rows of the star blocks that I showed in my last video. So this is what they look like, and I have a partial row started, and I just need to complete it. But I absolutely love these. I just love scrappy quilts. So I'm looking forward to continuing to work on this. And I'm hoping to do that over these next 2 weeks. One thing that I did not do was the block bonanza, which I really, really wanted to get to that. But between just everything going on and the finishing and all that, I just did not have any time. And I managed to catch up and then fall behind again on the mystery quilt that Kim Deal is doing from the Simple Whatnots 3 book. So I did catch up, and then I have 3 clues that I need to do, and I think it's just about ready to end, so I definitely need to get going so I can get this finished. But this is where I stopped and hopefully this weekend I can work on finishing. There's a checkerboard border that goes around this, and then there's like another set of pinwheels and today's block. I can't remember what today's blocks were, but I'm hoping to get started working on those because I think Monday's clue is the end. So I definitely want to get those done so that way maybe in my next video I'll have this one finished. But as far as quilting goes, that is it. Again, I did not get a chance to work on my Block Bonanza. I did not get a chance to work on my Civil War Tribute. Hoping to maybe get some time to work on all of those. But pretty sad quilting wise. The quilt behind me is the Constitution quilt from Primitive Gatherings, and I think it comes out of the book Stars and Stripes Gathering, I think. But I will put that information down below in the description box, as well as anything else I have shown in today's video. Well guys, as far as everything, that is all I have to show for today's video. If you've stuck around for this length of time, thank you so very, very much. I really do appreciate it. It is almost 5 o'clock here. I've been at this for 2 hours. It's just crazy. So I'm hoping that everything uploads and that this video is out on Saturday morning, and I'm hoping that the video quality and everything is okay because I can't really see what my phone is doing because it's so bright behind it. So we'll see. But the plan is to be back in 2 weeks. I hope you have a very happy 4th of July and you go and do something fun. I don't think we have any plans except to go watch the fireworks over in Mount Angel. We usually go watch them in the cemetery. So I'll pay a visit to some of my family that are laid to rest out there. But it's always fun, and we do enjoy the fireworks show. And we're not the only ones in the cemetery. So, but anyway, that is the plan. And then other than that, it's just more business as usual for the next 2 weeks. I think the blackberries will be ripe soon, or the Marion berries, they'll be ripe soon, as well as the raspberries. So I do have a little bit of canning that I'll be doing. So anyway, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. If you'd like to see what I'm up to in between videos, you can follow me on Instagram. I am Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, or I do have a Facebook page which is called Pumpkin Hollow Quilting, and I will put all that information down in the description box down below. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and I will see you all again soon. Bye-bye.